if there is a story that I would like to tell about, like, as a woman, like, experiencing sexual harassment, I have wanted to tell, like, this story to just anyone for years. I mean, my family has known about this story. My boyfriend obviously knows because I tell him everything. But my freshman year, I had like the worst experience, I feel like, that I've ever had with like like with a guy and trying to take advantage or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If I can tell it.
Oh
um
yeah, no.
okay, so I am going to use names because I don't care, because I'm still pissed off about it, and I don't care if like someone you know gets offended or whatever. Like, I really don't care. Like, if you hear your name and like you're watching it or whatever, this comes to you, like, I really don't care, because I still just loathe you. And there's two people that I will use their names, because actually maybe three. um because there's this whole situation and I'm still pissed off about it, and I'm still just like, I really don't care if you feel embarrassed or whatever. So when I was a freshman in my freshman science class, I sat next. Told you this story?
I don't think so because I wasn't here freshman year, so I
Oh,
don't.
oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. I forgot about that. You were Where were
yeah.
you?
I came junior year. We
Junior
we
year.
had we had chem together.
That's right. Oh my gosh, I
Yeah,
forgot that you weren't there like for all of high school. It feels like you were there.
freshman and sophomore year.
Anyway, so when I was a freshman, for the school,
Yeah. Oh nerd. Yeah,
yeah,
white
like he
dudes.
was like the star golf player, but he's just like, tall, attractive, white dude, whatever. Anyway, when we were freshmen, he used to like tease me and stuff, and
Like
from what
how?
I remember, he just wanted to make fun of me all the time, and it got to a point where he would just like touch my leg a lot, and like pinch my leg and like kick my foot. And at first I was like, oh, it's like flirty or whatever, and I don't and but I really didn't care, because I was just this theater kid, and I did not want to get it. I didn't want to get involved with like the popular kids, because I was like, I just really don't want the drama, and I don't like those people. So I really didn't care that, someone was just trying to like mess with me and like, whatever. And I think he just saw that I just didn't care who he was, and I didn't care like the I was just upset with what he said. And like, I think I did at one point say like, oh, I have a crush on him, whatever, and like I think he's flirting with me, and like all that stuff. And I told him that I liked him, and he just kind of like made fun of me. I
Mhm.
started like getting, like feelings for him or whatever. And so I texted him and I was like, I have a crush on you. And he was like, okay. And he told all of his friends about it, and he made fun of me. And then he kept like picking on me. He kept like pinching me. He kept like, doing all that stuff. And then I started like taking it as, oh, okay, like that's not flirting. That's just him being an asshole. And that's just him, I don't know. Like, I don't know what that is. Just him being annoying.
Mhm.
And at one point, he um well, yeah, he started getting his friends involved. He started like his friends started like getting into the like game of just like making fun of me and teasing me and whatever. And like his one of his friends would like
Uh-huh.
point at like a picture on like the wall, like a scientific like diagram or something, and be like, that's your ass, like, Presley, that's your ass. And I'd be like I would just feel so uncomfortable, because he would say it in front of the whole class, and like no one would say anything. And again, this was in 2000, I want to say 14, before the like Me Too movement or anything like that. So
Mhm.
I guess that would just be like normal, like
Right.
especially like in high school in the freshman class. And I just felt really uncomfortable. And it got to a point where like he teasing me and like touching my leg, and like at one point he would like put his hand like on my like inner thigh, and I basically was like, I was just like, stop doing that. Like, but I wouldn't make it really loud in the class so everyone would hear. I would just be like, stop, like, just, you're so annoying, just stop.
Mhm.
So I went to my parents about it, and this is when it gets just like it goes from like just someone in high school teasing you to just like, okay, this is shitty. This is like how the world works, I guess. So I went to my parents, I went to my dad, and I said, Dad, there's this guy who is just like bugging me in class. He's just, I mean, he makes me feel very uncomfortable. He touches me in places I don't want him to touch me at, you know. And he said, okay, I'll contact the school. This is where I will say this person's name a million times, and I don't care if they get embarrassed to hear it. Um, the principal of our school at the time. His name was Andrew Kibler.
I remember
I
Kibler.
do not give a shit if Andrew,
Mhm.
if Mr. Kibler sees this and is like, I'm embarrassed. I don't give a shit. This is how you ran your
Fuck you.
school. Yeah, this is how you
Fuck
ran
you,
your
Kibler.
school, and this is how I remember you. My
Mhm.
dad called Mr. Kibler, and he said, "Can you do something?" Oh gosh, it just makes me like I'm not emotional, but I'm just like angry. He called the school, and he was like, he talked to the principal, and he said, my daughter is being harassed in class, and she's told the person who's doing this to stop, and they won't stop. And the principal was basically like, um well, who's the person, like who's the student? And my dad was like, I said, oh. And then he said, oh, well, I know that's gosh, like, okay, this is really, I'm so angry right now. But he said, oh, I know that student. He's like a really important athlete to the school. And, you know, it would just be really bad if we ruined his reputation.
Wow. Wow.
And my dad is like, my dad's a conservative. Like he supported like Brett Kavanaugh, which is a whole other thing. But
Yeah.
um he is one of those people who will say like, you know, you have to you can't listen to women all the time because whatever. And my dad came back to me and said that that's what your principal said. You know, I don't think my dad sensationalized that at all.
Mhm.
I don't think because of how he looks at like, you know, sexual harassment in the first place and how he views it. I don't think he like exaggerated at all. I trust what he said, and he to this day he said that's what your principal said to me. Your principal literally said, I don't want to address it because I don't want that student to get in trouble, because I don't want that student to, you know, lose their like get their reputation, you know, messed up or whatever. I don't
Yeah.
want them to get in trouble. So um I don't know if they actually even said anything. Maybe they went back and they said something to him. I don't know, but that's what they
Mhm.
told me, and so that's what they told like my dad. So I doubt that they did anything because that's what they told me, that they weren't going to do anything. So,
Yeah.
and I think if that had happened after the Me Too movement, I think that I would have, and I was older when the Me Too movement happened too. So I think that wouldn't have been acceptable. And I think there was this culture of, and then still to some in some places today, I don't know how Tuscarora is still like today, but that was our school, Tuscarora. um I don't know why he left, but I heard rumors.
Oh.
I'm not going to say anything
Oh.
about like what they were,
You can
but
you can
I
tell
heard,
me. You can tell me off the air. We
no,
can
no,
spill the
yeah, I'll
tea.
tell you later, I'll tell you
A little bit
I don't
off.
know if any of them, I don't know if it's true, so I won't say it, but
Yeah. I'm
um
just sipping my tea over here.
well, the end of that story is my dad said like, he told me like, okay, this is what your principal said to me. They are not going to do anything about it, and like that sucks, but you have
Yeah.
the ability to do something about it. And I was like, what am I going to do? Like I was like, I remember him telling this to me. Like I remember like where we were, like what we were doing. I remember like him saying this to me. He said, what you need to do is you need to find a moment where the teacher is just talking, like where it's just the teacher just lecturing, and like no one else is talking, no one else is making any noise, because that's what he would usually do, is like when no one was like around to see. And we were, I didn't even mention this, we were in the back of the classroom, like it was my last name,
Ah.
so he was in the back we were both in the back of the classroom, no one could see us, like we were
Oh,
like,
that makes so much sense.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
this whole time,
I didn't notice that. I didn't even know you mentioned
This whole time, because I'm like M, so I was sort of in the middle. So I was just picturing it being in the middle, just because I've always sat in the middle. But I never knew that it was at the back. So that
yeah, we
puts
were in the
things in.
back of the classroom, and
Okay, that's
so
okay. That put things into perspective.
yeah, the teacher didn't really see anything either. So
Okay.
my dad told me to just wait for a quiet moment where it was just the teacher talking, and wait for him to start doing what he does.
Hmm.
Okay, and then he told me the rest. I want to get to the I'll get to the when I actually did what he told me to do. So
Right.
I waited for that quiet moment. He started like poking me, prodding me, fucking with me, whatever, touching me.
Hmm.
And I immediately it was just like, get the hell off of me. Or I think I said like, stop touching me or something. I think I said like, stop or something like that. But I just yelled. I yelled something like, get off of me.
Right. Yeah.
The teacher, I remember this for the rest of my life. The teacher looked at me and she was like, is everything okay?
Is this more important than biology? Like, he keeps touching my biology. Damn.
And I'd be like, and I looked over at him. I said, "This is what I literally did." He was like he was like red. And I looked over
Wow.
at him. I was
Yeah.
like, "We're good."
Damn.
He cried. He cried.
He cried.
Cried baby about it, and then everyone was making fun of him. So
So he just randomly like burst out crying. Like,
he was like at the end of class, like everyone was looking at him, like whatever, and he
oh
was
man, that's
like he was like
hilarious.
crying.
Damn.
So
So you just randomly like one day he's just quiet as shit. The teacher's teaching, he's touching you. He's just like, stop touching me, and then he's just
yeah,
like, wow,
yeah.
dang,
And
that's some
that's
really good
how
advice by your dad.
he never did it to me again.
Wow. Yeah,
So
that's one thing that I love out of this movement is that women can speak up, and not just after it happens, but I feel like when it does happen, and you can just go out and just be like, okay, this is what happened to me, versus, you wait till it happens and then like a week or a month later or years later, you go out and tell your story, where I feel like immediately you should shut it down.
yeah, I feel like I used to dread just like going into science class. Like it was the last
Right.
class of the day, and I would just be like, I just need to get through this one class. Like I just need to get
Hmm.
through it and like just deal with what I have to deal with. And it just speaks to the time too, because
Right. Because you like that shit doesn't fly anymore.
no, it
That
does
shit
not.
does not fly at all.
No. And that's
Just
why
grabbing a girl and just
and like he has never apologized to me. He's never like said anything to me.
right.
We stopped just like I deleted his number. Like we stopped like talking to each other since then. That was oh my gosh. That was 6 years
No,
ago.
if that
I
was
can't
2014, it's 6. Yeah.
yeah, I
I
can't
was about to
imagine.
say, I was like, how old are we? Like, goddamn, I'm
No.
old as shit.
It was 6 years ago
Mhm.
and I still think about it and I
So
still remember a lot of stuff,
I love I love how you call them out by name, because I feel like nowadays you should call them out by name, and in the future, like what they're doing now with people who are in high statuses, like with Brett Kavanaugh, as you mentioned before.
And
Like,
that's the other reason too. I think so that's why I'm okay with saying his name. He's one of those people who is just gonna be one of those like
preppy white
straight white
boys and
male people in
yeah,
Congress or something,
right.
privilege,
Hmm.
um, and you just kind of know that he's gonna be in power one day, and
Right.
I don't really care like what you know if not that I think that he'll watch this. Maybe he will. I don't know. Or like
No,
any
but at least there's a documentation, because before, like with Kavanaugh's accusers, there's not really any video documentation. There's no like at those parties and stuff. So you can't really document. All he had is those stupid calendars that he showed. He's like, oh, I would work out with my friends, and then I went to this party, which I labeled on my calendar. Who writes
but
down a
yeah,
party
but
they go to?
it's not like I would like press charges against him. I mean, he was like,
No,
14.
yeah, but at least like in the future, if he's running or something, and then this video shows up where they can call him out and say, "Hey, there's an accusation against you," and Kibler too, wherever the hell he is, where if he wants to apply for like a principal of some other
He's
school,
worse.
they can be like, huh?
He is the one in this story that I
Yeah,
don't.
he had the right to do something and he didn't. So that's really messed up because he wanted to protect the star athlete. And I think a lot of colleges do that with their star players and in major leagues too, where it's football, basketball, baseball, whatever. They have star athletes they need to protect.
Mhm.
So when the accusations like this comes out, there was one with Ezekiel Elliott where he punched a woman or something, with Ray Rice when he punched that woman in the elevator. So they have to protect their money and their assets, basically, as their players.
I mean, I wouldn't say like, I mean, I guess, like I said, it was like 6 years ago, we were 14, but at the same time, it's like, well, that's why I say the person in this story who I think should get the most flack is the principal because he
Kibler.
knew better.
Yeah.
He was an adult. He knew, like I said, he knew better.
Mm-hmm.
He was the person who was responsible for keeping that school safe, and he didn't do his job. And that's why I don't care if I use his name because he gets whatever's coming to him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not trying
Okay.
to, like I said, I'm not trying to like, I don't want to like press charges against people or
No,
whatever.
it's nothing about press charges, but you call it out when it happens.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
think
yeah.
more women
This is just
should
my
do that.
story. This is just my
Yeah.
story. And I just
Yeah.
don't care about these people's names because I just don't care.